Okay, it looks like the communication's working, so technology is working great. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Martin Kelly, and I'm the Director of KOM Consultants here in Hamilton, Ontario. Joining me today on this webinar is Patrick Lynch from IT Sligo.
Hi, everyone.
Donald McAllister from IT Carlow, and Cyril Gavahan from IT Tralee. So what we normally do on these webinars is we have a formal presentation with a PowerPoint and whatnot, outlining the schools, the programs, the resources, and so forth. We thought with everything that's going on with the academic or COVID-19 around the world right now, we thought this is an opportunity to talk to you and let you answer or ask any questions that you may have to KOM as well as the Irish schools. So over the last week, we've received numerous emails asking about what's going on with the programs that we'll be running in September. So I think what we'll do at this point is we'll turn it over to my colleagues in Ireland, and then they can explain the situation over there. And then we can open it up to a question and answer period for everybody. Okay. So I will turn it over to, I cannot see Donald or Cyril, so I'll leave it to you guys to jump in here.
Okay. Hi, everybody. It's Patrick here. Can everybody hear me? Okay, guys. I think Donald and Carlow is just had to temporarily leave us. So until he comes back in to the chat, maybe I'll just kick off by saying you're all very welcome. Big thank you to Martin for facilitating today's webinar. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon here in Ireland, and as you can see, myself, Cyril, and Donald are all working from home. The Irish government has kind of announced a 2-week period of self-isolation for home, and our campuses are all closed and have been closed for, I think, 3 weeks now, and are scheduled to be closed certainly for the foreseeable future. So all of our teaching and learning has been moved online. So all of our students, be they international students or domestic students, are actually currently taking their classes online and remotely at the moment with amended forms of teaching and learning. At the moment, all 3 institutions are adhering to their current academic calendars, and that means that we are preparing in earnest for a traditional September intake as we ordinarily would. So now you have this forum to, I suppose, answer or ask questions via the chat box. And I'm sure myself and my colleagues will be very, very happy to answer any questions or any concerns that you may have.
Patrick, I missed the beginning of that. Did you discuss the situation with the coronavirus in Ireland or anything like that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I just explained on that the Irish government has kind of announced a period of closure for our campuses, that on-campus teaching has ceased, and that our international students and indeed our domestic students are now taking classes online and learning remotely with amended forms of teaching and learning assessment methodologies being rolled out between all 3 institutions are presently adhering to the current academic calendar, and indeed we're anticipating or hopeful of recommencing this time, assuming all goes well over the in the foreseeable days, weeks, and months ahead.
So to my colleagues in Ireland,
if I can just add to that, then I don't know. The situation in Ireland is such that we have currently about 3,500 cases of COVID-19, and I think that compares to about 10,000 in Canada that I saw earlier. We would be seen as probably dealing with it probably a lot better than our neighbour in the UK, which is not a competition. We're not trying to win anything, but it shows that we've been well prepared and we're dealing with the crisis probably as best we can. And certainly for you guys in Ontario, your neighbour down south is probably not dealing with it very well either. So we have that in common. Yeah, and as Patrick said, we expect to start in September as normal. You know, that may change, and if it does, you know, a couple of points to make. One is that anyone who's paid deposits or anything like that, if anything changes, those deposits are 100% secure. You have to remember that we're all public institutions, and you know, the guidelines that we follow in terms of any money, anything like that, you have nothing to worry about. So if there's any delays or anything like that, you know, your deposits, all of that are 100% clear. I just had a quick look at things like accommodation, flights, all of that can still be booked. So if you have your offer, you know, you can go ahead and book things, but I guess our view in general terms would be hold off for a little bit longer, just until things become a little bit clearer. That would be the Carlow view. I don't know if Cyril or Patrick would have a different viewpoint, but certainly you can, on the assumption that things are going to start in September, book things such as accommodation if you wish. But my view would be maybe wait a little bit longer until you do that. There's no particular panic in terms of getting that done. One thing to say to you, if you're a Canadian citizen or a US citizen, I do see a US flag there in the list, you don't need a visa to come to Ireland. So what that means really is that you're not going to be in the same situation as a lot of other international students who are coming to Ireland or hoping to come to Ireland in September, who will need a visa and will need to go through a process. And the problem that they're going to face is that the visa processing is all stopped worldwide, and it's not going to recommence until possibly the summertime. And if that's the case, then there's going to be a big squeeze on numbers coming to Ireland from other non-visa required countries. What does that mean for you? It means that effectively things like accommodation and things like that are going to become a lot more easy to secure a lot later. It's going to mean that there's going to be a lot less numbers than we would normally expect from some of these countries coming into Ireland for September starts. So, you know, these are the things that myself, Patrick and Cyril are trying to deal with at the moment and trying to anticipate what might happen. But it's going to be a very interesting situation. We're already in a situation that none of us in our lifetimes, or even our parents or grandparents, have never experienced anything quite like this. This is a once in a lifetime, hopefully, experience for us all. But yeah, so as we're here to answer any questions, any concerns that you might have, but obviously keep in mind that we don't have all the answers yet because of the fluidity of the situation.
Just to my colleagues in Ireland.
Yeah, if I can just jump in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, Martin, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say to my colleagues in Ireland, we at KOM Consultants over the last week or two, we're receiving emails from students asking if they can still apply for September 2020 or if applications are on hold. So maybe we could address that, because at this stage, I think there's a number of students at different stages online with us on this webinar. So some may have accepted offers, some may just be looking for questions on pathways, and some may be at the application stage. So maybe if we could touch on some of the points.
Yeah, so if I can take that question. So all three institutions are set up to work from home, and all offices are operating remotely. So basically that means that any student who is still considering, again, on the assumption, as all three institutions are working towards, that we will be open again in September. If any student wishes to apply, we're actively processing those applications as and when received. So all three institutions are most definitely open for applications in September. So that's the first thing, to reassure people that we're definitely still open for applications, and we're set up remotely to process those applications. There might be a slight delay in terms of normal turnaround times, but most certainly all three institutions will be in a position to turn around applications certainly within 2 working weeks at the very outset. So that's the first thing. And secondly, any students that are participating on the webinar this afternoon in terms of Irish time or morning in Ontario time, who may be in receipt of an offer already and who are considering making a deposit payment to secure a seat on a program for September, and are looking at kind of the 90-day window where they can avail of the reduced tuition from €5,000 to €8,000. I think all three institutions, given the extraordinary circumstances that we're in, will be fairly flexible with regard to that 90-day period. So in other words, if you happen to take out 90 days because you may not have access to maybe a part-time job at home to help finance that down payment of €1,000, I think all three institutions will be flexible in terms of the timing of receipt for the €1,000. I'm going to speak on behalf of all three institutions. Secondly, with regard to the balance, most offer letters would contain a date for receipt of final payments. Under immigration guidelines, we are obliged to receive a minimum payment of €6,000, even if you're non-visa required. So again, I think we can be flexible in terms of installment arrangements for the full amount of the tuition as well, but certainly a minimum of €6,000 would have to be paid prior to travel. And then in our institution at IT Sligo, the balance would have to be paid on or before commencement of the second semester in accordance with our own fees and grants policy. There may be subtle differences in Tralee or Carlow, but I think just to echo what Donald has said there, we are most certainly in a position to process applications for September. Anybody who has any concerns with regard to the safety or security of their €1,000 deposit should have no concerns in that regard. Should they decide no, for whatever reason, whether it's COVID-19 related or otherwise, that €1,000 is fully refundable. And most importantly, if 90-day period for payment of €1,000 to avail of reduced tuition has expired or is about to expire, we can be flexible on that 90-day payment period. So there's a couple of questions going through the kind of the live web chat here. There's a question from Timmy. Could you expand on work visas? So basically, if you're a Canadian or a US citizen, you don't need a student study visa to come here. So that's a plus point. When you arrive here, you're obligated to register what's called the Irish Residence Permit Card within 90 days of arrival. That we will assist with that. All international officers will assist with that. And then once you receive your Irish Residence Permit Card, for which there's a one-off cost of €300, you're then in a position to apply for what's called a PPSN or a tax number, and that will then allow you to register for tax here and then apply for a part-time job. And you're allowed to work for up to 20 hours per week during term time and up to 40 hours a week outside of term time.
Just going up to the top there, Patrick. Zoe, if the virus is still active and September intakes get cancelled, would we get a refund from IT Tralee? Not sure where Cyril's gone, but the answer to that would be most certainly yes, and it would apply to all of us. So there's no issue. I want you to be completely 100% reassured in relation to your fees. There's not going to be any issue. If there's any delay in relation to programs or cancellations or anything, your fees are safe and they will be refunded in that circumstance for sure. Lawrence, from what I hear in Canada, there might be multiple waves of this virus. If it was to extend until September, will remote learning be possible? Some institutions will be able to offer that, but not all. So we'd have to take that on a case-by-case basis. Maybe Patrick is in a better position to answer that one than I am. Sligo are in a better space when it comes to online.
Yeah, well, traditionally at IT Sligo, we offer a number of degree completion options about a full-time on-campus learning basis, but also on an online basis. Delivery online, basically, normally in an ordinary full-time year, you would take 60 ECTS credits full-time. over the same period from an online perspective, generally you would only take 30 ECTS credits. And so generally, instead of a 1 year completion, it would actually take 2 years. But the cost is roughly similar over that 2 years. But that option, based on the current program offerings, would only be available in certain areas, not all. And I would imagine that the institution at the moment will be looking very closely at public health authority guidance and indeed Department of Education guidance over the coming months, and then make decisions with regard to potentially extending online delivery, or for students who are due to arrive in office. There is a possibility that they may initially commence on an online basis initially, but again, all our institutions in Ireland will be by Department of Advice and also public health authorities' advice in that respect, and before we amend any program offerings. So in answer to your question, Lawrence, it's a pretty fluid situation at the moment, and it's something that we will be taking a unified approach. And there's quite a lot of considerable dialogue going on at executive level across all Irish universities and institutions at the moment.
Okay, next question. How do we, if remote online classes continue in Ireland by September, would it be an option for Canadian students to do their studies online from Canada? If that's the case, then the answer to that would obviously be yes, for the portion of time allocated to that online element. But if you're thinking that the whole program will be done online, I think that would be a difficult one to answer at this stage. So I think we're going to have to take that one on a case-by-case basis, as Patrick said. But at the moment, we're not planning that. In Carlow, for example, we're planning on everyone coming in September. So I think that'd be a fair comment, Patrick, would it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same for ourselves. Yeah. There's a question there from Lovepreet with regard to getting a room for ourselves on campus, and whether it's possible to share a room with a mutual friend. The answer to both those questions is you can either reach out directly to the offices of KOM consultants, or indeed directly to any of the 3 international offices for which you're in receipt of an offer, and they will guide you on the accommodation options that are available to you. Most of the student accommodation in Ireland is actually not owned by the universities or the Institutes of Technology. They're actually privately owned and managed. So all 3 institutions can actually put you directly in touch with a range of student accommodation providers, and you contact them basically yourself with our referral, and you can actually book a room and request to share with your friends. So that shouldn't be a problem. Timmy's question there, I think we answered earlier on.
There's a question there from Marguerite.
So Lee has asked a question in regard to Lee has asked.
Hi, I'm just looking at a question there from Marguerite. Would it be possible to transfer the application and the deposit to begin in September 2021? Yes. If you wish to defer the application, Marguerite, it can be done at no charge to you. It becomes automatic.
Okay. Lee has asked a question there, guys, can you expand on the reduced tuition? So basically all 3 institutions, Leah, would offer a standard reduced around €10,500 to €8,500, but we also offer reduction from €8,500 to €8,000 if you pay a refundable deposit of €1,000 within 90 days of the date of your offer. That just allows us to reserve a seat on the program for you come September. And what we've spoken about on the webinar this afternoon is being a little bit flexible with that 90-day period. So in other words, because of the extraordinary circumstances that we're in, and it's creating uncertainty amongst the student body as to whether they will proceed with their offers or not. And certainly in Sligo, we've been receiving some emails from students who are worried that the 90-day period is almost upon them, and they haven't made the €1,000 deposit. They had queries and questions as to whether we were still planning for a September intake. The answer is a resounding yes. And now we're in a position to make the €1,000 deposit. We're urging them to do so, and because even though the 90-day period has expired, we're still accepting those deposits, and we'll still honour the €500 for the reduction from 8,500 to €8,000. So hopefully that answers your question, Leah.
There's a question
There's a
here
question from Jake as to when should students. Yeah, go on, Martin.
Oh, I was just going to say, regarding Jake's question, when should students book flights for Ireland? Maybe we could all refer to what Donna was saying and maybe hold off on the flights at this point. I think the airlines right now are in a bit of a turmoil with what's going on in the world. So I think we're okay to say that you could hold off on the flights right now. Does KOM Consultants provide transportation from Dublin to the schools? Jake, that's the respected school that you're looking at, whether it be Tralee, Carlow, or Sligo. Once your flights are booked, you would just contact us. We would send on your flight details to the respected school, and they would then arrange for transportation to pick you up from Dublin. Does KOM provide discounted rates for flights? No, we don't, but maybe some of our Irish colleagues here could give some information on some of the airlines that you could reach out to. I believe Aer Lingus would be your national carrier that would offer some quite aggressive pricing on student flights. So maybe I could pass that over to you guys on that one.
I'm sorry if I'm been brought into this conversation. I can't hear anything that Martin's saying. So Patrick, it was.
Yeah, Aer Lingus is our national carrier, as Martin explained. They have direct flights from Toronto Pearson into Dublin. Generally, if you contact Aer Lingus, once you're a student transferring from North America, that also includes the US, directly to Ireland to complete your studies or indeed further your studies, they will offer a generous baggage allowance. I think they offer you a second bag free of charge. And secondly, they will also allow you to a flexible return air flight schedule, so they'll allow you to amend your return flight without any additional costs. So there's, I suppose, a generous baggage allowance and also a flexible return itinerary with Aer Lingus.
Okay. We keep on through them. Marguerite, would it be possible to transfer the application and deposit?
So I think Cyril has a question from Marguerite. Would it be possible to transfer the application and the deposit to begin in September 2021? Yes, absolutely. If you wish, under whatever, to defer your offer for a year, it's absolutely no problem. So if you're a conditional offer holder, you would still need to satisfy the conditions of that offer, which generally relate to graduating your diploma and diploma program with a minimum GPA. So you still need to send in your.
I see that Hunter has a similar question there to Marguerite previously. Hunter, if you wish to defer your offer to September 2021, you simply send an email to the International Office and it becomes an automatic entitlement on your part. And there's, as I say to Marguerite, there's no charge for deferral. I see my colleagues in Carlow and Sligo have gone from my screen. Can you hear me, Martin?
Yes, I can still hear you, Cyril. I think Donald's just logging back on. We apologize to all the students that are logged on right now. The internet at some of the locations we're transmitting from is not the greatest, but we're trying our best. So I see all four of us are back on the screen. So possibly we could pick up with Marshall has a question here, if anybody sees that one.
Okay, so Marshall has a question relating to if schools are closed moving into September, would offers that are accepted be pushed and start at a later date or be pushed forward for a year? I suppose that's still kind of a fluid situation at the moment. The campuses are closed until the end of kind of the second week in April. We are planning to hopefully reopen in the first week in September, if not well in advance at that point. But if, for argument's sake, that we do need to amend our academic calendars, all of the international offices will notify any offer holders of any amended start dates. It's a bit of a fluid change, but most definitely if the amendments to the academic calendar start dates, offer holders will be notified of amended start dates. So there is a question from Hunter. If you're unable to attend school in September, would we be eligible for September 2021, or would we need to apply again? So again, I think we dealt with that question earlier on. I think you're inquiring as to whether you can defer your entry for a year. Absolutely. And again, you just need to make sure that you satisfy any conditions attaching to your offer, particularly if it's a conditional letter offer. If the non-conditional letter offer that you're actually in receipt of at the moment for September 2020, you just need to indicate your wish to defer that for another year, so we can actually issue you with a revised letter of acceptance.
Donald, can you hear me? Sebastian has a question. How much time?
Donald, there's a question there for you from Sebastian.
Oh yeah. Can you hear me? Someone give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm the only person I can hear is Patrick. So, how much time after our graduation do we have to remain applicable for a one-year pathway? Yeah, it's a couple of years you have after graduation, Sebastian. Essentially, we map the courses that you're doing in Ontario to our programs in Ireland, and we would assume that nothing much has changed between the two programs in 1 or 2 years, so we would be happy enough to just continue with the offer on that basis. If the course has changed, we might have to do a remapping, but that rarely happens. So you do have quite a bit of time. So quite a number of students would, for example, say, can I take a year out, put some money together, whatever it is, before I go abroad? And the answer to that is absolutely yes, and your offer will stand. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. Julie's question about medical insurance in Carlow, I'd say it's probably the same in the other institutions. You do that online. We have a link through our website, through the international section of our website, where you can book your medical insurance with our provider. The current price is ranging from €150 to €200, depending on. One has an additional element of cover, but really the basic one is fine, and you can book that directly on the website. Timmy, what's the best way to look into housing options? Well, Cyril in Tralee has direct housing options
I'm not
that
sure
he can offer.
Where we're all at.
I know in
the moment.
Carlow.
I'm just seeing it.
I'll let Patrick answer for Sligo. For in Carlow, we have links to various providers on our website. And also to other websites that aggregate the rental properties that are available. So you might find that you want to go somewhere a bit cheaper. You're living in a house with other students, or you might want to go into dedicated student accommodation. So there's lots of different options there, and that's available on our website. Patrick, maybe for Sligo, similar.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah.
Okay.
Olivia,
I'll just keep going. I'm not sure if you answered this. I just came in. If September is still going on, are we able to continue online? Yeah, we went into that in quite a lot of detail. There's still a lot of things to happen, Olivia, before we can really answer that. The plan is to start in September normally, and that's the way we're all operating. If it's a case that we have to offer part of the programs online, then that's something that we'll have to consider, but it's not at all decided yet, so it's not something that certainly I think we can answer definitively. Some people are more down the line like Sligo than others, but certainly we would plan that you're coming in September as we originally envisaged. Fair enough, Patrick?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's a question there from Lyndall. What's the deadline to defer the acceptance to 2021? I mean, effectively, you have up until kind of almost, the month of August, anytime up to August in September, to defer. You just need to notify KOM or indeed the international office concerned from which you hold your actual offer. So I would say kind of August 2020, and notify us in advance of the planned September entry to defer until the following September 2021.
Okay.
There's a question there from Serene with regard to would we still need to make the €1,000 deposit if we wish to defer to 2021? That's entirely up to yourself. You can decide to pay it now and hold your place for September 2021 if you wish to defer, or just indicate that you wish to defer your offer without making the payment. It's entirely up to yourself.
Olivia is asking about IT Tralee becoming a university.
There's a question from Olivia with regard to whether IT Tralee is merging to become a university, MTU. Will that be in effect by September 2020? I'm not sure of the exact time frames from that, but I do know that the international panel assessing their application met and made some recommendations, and I think the CIT and Cork and IT Tralee, both institutions from the MTU consortium, have to address those and are probably already replied to them. And I would imagine are probably hopeful of a decision on or before the end of the current calendar year. It's worth also mentioning that IT Carlow and IT Sligo are also on similar trajectories to becoming a technological university with other Institute of Technology partners. There's a question from Timmy. Do we cover work visas? Yeah, Timmy. As I said, if you're a Canadian or US citizen, you don't require a student study visa to come to Ireland. When you arrive here, you are obligated to register with immigration within 90 days. When you do so, you need to purchase your Irish residence permit card, and then you're eligible to apply for a PPSN tax number, which then allows you to work as a full-time student in a part-time job for up to 20 hours per week during school time and up to 40 hours a week outside of school time. There's a question from Jake. How early should we arrive in Ireland for the September semester? Generally, students arrive kind of a week to 10 days in advance of the semester start to get acclimatized in terms of accommodation. And some others might want to come a little bit earlier if they wish to or are budgeting for a part-time job as well. So I would generally say kind of a week to 10 days prior to the semester starting. And we have a question then as well from Lovepreet. What is the best way to make a payment for tuition with reduced fees to pay? In the case of IT Sligo, there's a link on the offer letter which directs you towards a payment portal where you can actually make a payment of your tuition. I'm going to hand over to Donald, maybe from Carlow. I'm sure it's probably a similar process for Carlow. I'm sure they probably have a link as well with instructions on how to pay online.
Yeah, correct. We have an online portal. So when you're making your application to us, we direct you to that portal. It's quite straightforward.
And to love
the question there from Olivia, and she's a dual citizen with an Italian passport. Does she still have to apply for a work visa? So basically, if you're a European citizen, you're not required to apply for the Irish residence permit card. And so therefore, you can apply as any European citizen. You can apply for an Irish tax number, a PPSN number, and the relevant international offices will assist you with that. And it means you're automatically entitled to work here. Okay. Donald, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, that's perfect. I mean, you've got the same rights as a European citizen as any Irish citizen would have in terms of working. You've no restrictions whatsoever. You are entitled to work full time if you wish.
There's a question from Kyra. Can I pay installments towards my tuition throughout the summer now that I've paid my deposit, or do I have to pay the remainder all at once? You can make installments, absolutely. Just be mindful of the fact that under immigration rules, irrespective of whether your student study visa required or not, you do have to make a minimum payment of up to €6,000 before you commence your program.
Timmy, best direction to look for cheap stay, as it mentioned maybe earlier, the website does have a lot of the main portals where you get a lot of that information. So daft.ie would be somewhere where people will go to look for rental accommodation. Also, if you're quite anxious about it, we can try and put you in touch with some of the students who were here this year, and they can tell you about where they stayed and the type of money that it cost them and all that sort of stuff. And we can do that with the assistance of KOM to try and give you a sense of the prices that you would pay to stay in Carlow or Sligo or Tralee. But Tralee have a specific accommodation partner that they work with, as I understand. Is it me or has Patrick disappeared? Can you hear me okay, Martin? Can you give me a thumbs up? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep going then. Let me see. Dane, while paying, your student number is KOM reference number, correct? I believe so, Martin. Would that be correct?
Yes, that's correct. When you're paying your deposit, any reference numbers will be written on your offer letter. If anybody has any questions about the application, acceptance, or housing, KOM, we're also working from home, but we're maintaining our emails on a daily basis. So just reach out to us by email, which is, I wrote it earlier, but you can reach us at info@komconsultants.com. Or if you're dealing with one of the counselors at the office, you can just email them directly.
Yeah, I mean, just to repeat what, Zoe is a 6,000 refundable. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. Any more questions out there?
Okay, guys, I'm not sure if you can still hear me or not. It's Patrick here. And if you have any more questions, feel free to use the web chat box.
If not,
we'll do our best to answer.
Martin has all of our contact details. If there's specific questions you want to ask, you're very welcome to contact us directly through KOM, whatever way you want. We can answer whatever questions come up. We just wanted to do this session with you to give you some reassurance that we're still working away. As you can see, we're at home, but all our staff are working away from their homes. We're processing applications, we're processing payments. Things are a little bit unusual and a little bit probably more slow than we'd like, but it's still going ahead. And just to give you the reassurance that that is happening and that any money that's transferred and all that is 100% safe. There's no issues. We're aiming for a September start. And if there's any concerns that you, your parents, anyone has, very welcome to contact us directly. There's no issue there. And Patrick's doing a great job in the background there answering all the questions. Sebastian, for IT Carlow, do you consider applications from students wanting to pursue more specialised degree pathways like finance or? Well, yes, we'd have to look at that on a case-by-case basis. It depends on what your background is. If you've done something in that area and you want to go down that line, we'd have to see what you've already studied to see how it maps across. But we'd definitely consider it for sure.
Okay, guys, just keep the questions coming in
said there.
Via the chat box, and we'll keep going for the next 5 minutes or so and continue to answer any questions that you might have.
Leah, the fail in Ireland, you might have to say you bumped the fail. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I think what it means is, what is a fail? If it is that, then a fail in Ireland is 40%. Our grading system is different to Canada. So whereas you guys might be used to 80s in your grades in Canada, you would be doing well to get 60s and 70s in Ireland. That would be seen as the equivalent. So it's a very different system that we have over there. But as Patrick says, the minimum CGPA is 2.4, but a sign of success, people that we know have done well, we would tend to see them coming in with 3.0s or higher. So that would be something that I think you'd need to think about. A 2.4 would be the minimum requirement to come across.
There's a question from Olivia to see if we're able to move into master's degrees in Europe with the degrees from your colleges. The answer is yes. So honours bachelor degrees in Ireland are recognised
yes,
worldwide.
Yes, very
throughout
simple
Europe.
answer to that, Olivia. If you're about master's degrees, the answer is we work within what's called the European framework, and what that means is our degrees are recognised not just in Europe but worldwide. Our degree that's achieved at level 8 in Ireland is sufficient to move on to master's programs, not just in Ireland but across Europe and also in Canada. So if you achieve the honours level degree, which is a level 8, you can move on to what we would call a level 9 master's program. And just so you know, in Ireland the master's programs are 1 year long. So it's full master's degrees.
Just echo what Donald has said there.
When sending in our final grades for our current schools, do we send it to the same place we applied for? I'm not sure what that means, but if you do everything through KOM, if you're talking about the school, the direct school, everything comes through KOM anyway. But yes, if you can send it to KOM, who then send it on to us, I think that's probably the sensible thing. Then we all have our records. Yasmina, are you able to complete something like an MBA in Ireland? The answer is yes. You can do an MBA, but an MBA tends to be a program that is for people with a professional background on top of prior study. So I know in some countries you can do an MBA directly from degrees, but you can't generally do that in Ireland. You can do things like a Master in Business, which we would offer in Carlow, for example. You can do that from a degree program, but the MBA that we offer is only for people who have a few years work experience. Lookpreet, yeah, you can send that to the admissions office. Yeah, absolutely. But KOM, again, I can advise you on that just so we're all clear. I think, yeah, as Patrick says, I think sending it to KOM is the sensible thing to do. Yanav, yes. Yeah, as Patrick says, we do need to see your final grades. Okay.
So I'm not sure if students can hear me, but Yanav,
okay,
students
how
can
are we doing?
accept the offer if they're looking to do the acceptance. They can still do all the acceptance and pay the deposit with that conditional
Overall,
offer.
keeping
more
sane
questions, guys?
and safe and washing our hands regularly and not visiting people we don't need to visit. And really looking forward to seeing you come into Ireland and assuming that everything goes as according to plan. If we find that something is changed, we will contact you straight away. But on the basis of what we know and understand right now, we're working towards a September start, okay?
Just a question there from Olivia with regard to borders.
Do we
being
open,
by September.
Olivia is asking about the borders being open by September. Like I just said, I really believe that that will be the case. I think the problems are going to be for the students who need to go through a process such as a visa process, where that'll take a few weeks. That's where people are going to have problems. For people who don't require a visa, such as Canadian citizens, you can just get on a plane and come. So you've got a lot more flexibility than some of our other international students would have. So I think that's that can allow you to keep things flexible until the last minute. And certainly you don't need to make any decisions about deferral or anything like that until quite late in the day. Okay.
Just to clarify, Olivia, the Irish borders are actually open at the moment. We're not closed.
I'll leave it
They
with you,
are
Martin,
open.
then.
It's just that flights aren't operating in and out of Ireland to the same level of regularity that they would have been in the past.
Everyone can hear me. Everyone can hear Martin. I can't hear Martin. I don't know if he can hear me.
So I was just going to ask if students have any more questions. This is the time, because
I think we'll finish up now, Donald. What do you think?
So if there's no more questions, we at KOM would like to thank you for tuning in for this. We also want to reach out to you to let you know that you fully have our support here. We are working from home, but as I mentioned, we're continually monitoring the email on a daily basis. So just reach out to us by email, and we're here to help you. So thanks again for tuning in.